LifeSite readers probably have seen the name of Father Jesusmary Missigbètò. He's the priest of Opus Dei who has been heavily sanctioned by the Vatican for writing to Pope Francis his concerns about what Pope Francis has been doing to the great detriment of the Church. It's a very interesting inside look at a priest in West Africa, in the Ivory Coast, and you're going to get to see him here. Stay tuned for this episode of The John Henry Westen Show. Father Jesusmary, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let's begin as we always do with the sign of the cross. Father, if you could lead us.
In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Father. You are sort of in the midst of controversy right now because, well, your story is becoming very well known in that you've chosen to speak out. What were, first of all, your motivations for speaking out?
First of all, I want to apologize to your followers because my English is not very good. So I will do my best. I'm a French native speaker, so I will do my best to make me understood. My motivation is very simple, very simple. We are Catholics. I'm a priest. I have many people, many friends who are faithful Catholic, and we are surprised with the teaching coming from the Vatican. As you know, with John Paul II and Pope Benedict, things were clear, but now we see a lack of ambiguity. Responses are not clear, answers are strange. So in the beginning, we don't believe that something wrong was happening. Since 2013, the beginning of the pontificate of Pope Francis. And when we arrived to 2016, we were deeply surprised with Amoris Laetitia and so on. The year after, and I think the most the high level was in 2020 with the declaration of Pope Francis about homosexual coexistence laws. It was incredible because it's something very dangerous for families, for the church itself, for the vocation for priesthood, vocation for religious life, the education of the children. So many consequences coming. Terrorism against Christian, because the Muslims identify the Catholic religion with the perversion of some European people. So they think that Christianism is equal to Europe. So if Pope Francis is permitting or allowing same-sex union laws, they will see the Catholic Church in the same group with all the perversion of European nations.
That's actually very interesting because these sort of unforeseen, perhaps, consequences of getting together with the worldly ideology, perhaps, is unforeseen. So in Africa, a lot of the countries where there is Muslim rule, the Catholic Church might have been previously seen as at least supporting the normal family order, and thus the ruling powers wouldn't see it as a threat to the family. But with Pope Francis going down the road of recognizing same-sex civil unions, in fact, almost encouraging them legally, then you get a threat to the state, at least perceived so as so by Muslim governments. And so that would be a threat to the family, thus a threat to society. And perhaps then it's the Catholic Church, per se, bringing in sort of these Western ideals of, homosexuality, which, of course, is abhorred in much of Africa, especially in Muslim Africa.
My motivation is very simple. It's the Vatican have to speak clearly and follow the traditional path of the church, not go out, because the tradition is the preservation of the truth, and it's the way, the most sure way to go to heaven. So this is my motivation, to help Pope Francis understand that it's better to follow the path of Saint John Paul II and Pope Benedict and all the Saint Popes we have. There are many. There are so many. So Pope Francis have to follow the path of these holy popes.
For doing what you've done, for being willing to speak out, to in very much love. Anyone who reads your letters to the Pope recognizes that you love the Pope and you're doing this for his good.
I love him too much, Jean-Marie. Too much. I could tell you, if I had the possibility to meet Pope Francis, I will kiss him. I will say, please, you have to rectify. You have to rectify, or you must rectify. I think must is strong in English. You must rectify, because it's very important to follow the path, the traditional path in the church, because it's the path of the truth. If the church go out this path, we are in danger.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been a priest? What's your story? How did you come to the priesthood? If you could just summarize for us.
Things begin, I will say, at my 13. My father told me, my mother too, when we come back from the Mass, and I remember, later I remember, yeah, they were true. When we came back from the Mass, I used to reproduce what happened in the church at home with my brothers and my sisters. So I think that it's something which comes naturally, yes, little by little. And at my 15, my father put me in touch with a friend of our family. He's a priest of Benin, West Africa Republic, yes. My 17, I met Opus Dei, and in this moment, I was thinking more to a work in the world, yes. And the vocation, the priestly vocation, was not, I will say, it was not high, yes. But there was a desire of great sanctity, of holiness, but put in the work. It's after my vocation at Opus Dei that the vocation at priesthood, I will say that it comes back. I discovered that in Opus Dei it was possible to be a priest. So I wrote to the prelate and told him that in the future, if it was possible, I would like to be a priest of Opus Dei. So in 2006, I go to Rome to study theology, and later in Spain to make my specialization in philosophy. The 5th of May 2012, I was ordained a priest at Rome.
You became a priest right before Pope Francis became Pope. Very interesting indeed, because you spent all of your formative years under John Paul II and Pope Benedict. Now that you've experienced what you have with regard to the sanctions, first of all, explain to everybody, if you would, what sanctions are you under currently?
Okay, the sanction is, it's impossible for me to receive confessions. It's impossible to hear confessions, yes. It's impossible to preach. I can't preach. Another thing, it's impossible for me to celebrate the Mass publicly, yes. And all this was come from February of this year. But now, with the validation of Pope Francis, they include the private Mass too. So now it's impossible for me to celebrate the private mass.
Even outside of church where the public are masses, no one can even come to you privately to have a mass.
My priestly work is finished. That's why the name I put to the letter to Pope Francis, the letter I've published in Twitter and Facebook, the title of the letter was Priestly Death. So it's my priestly death. It's not possible for me now to do what a priest have to do.
Are you able, Father, to offer a mass all by yourself?
If I'm alone, I can celebrate the mass. This is called the private mass. The private mass, I'm alone. I'm alone. There is nobody. Maybe one person, a ministry, maybe. But now, nobody, no mass. No mass is no mass. And there was a condition, if I want to keep the private mass, I have to stop criticize Pope Francis. That's why in my letter, I wrote that it's impossible for me to stop because there are many things wrong, but Pope Francis has to correct. So if since 2016, he didn't want to correct them, it's not normal. So I can't stop. We gave him too much time to make his rectification. So if he doesn't want to do his rectification, that means that he is in the wrong path, and he wants to remain in the wrong path. So if he wants to remain in the wrong path, so I will remain in the good criticism of the Pope. You see. So I'm not against Pope Francis, but I'm against the errors of Pope Francis. He must correct them because it's important for the church and for the faithful of the church.
Father, can you tell us, with those in in West Africa, with whom you've been in touch, Catholics that you've seen perhaps, have you seen any effect from Pope Francis's false teaching?
Yes, of course. People are aware of what's happening, and they are disappointed. Many are disappointed. Many. Some say he's a wrong pope. He's a false pope. He's not like Pope John Paul II. He's not like Benedict. We understand now what's happened with Pope Benedict. His enemies do all to make him gone, and now they put Pope Francis, who is the best friend, who wants the ideas of the world. You understand? People are aware. People know that there is something wrong with Pope Francis. So that's why it's important for Pope Francis to clearly show that he wants to make a rectification, that he wants to be a good pope, a true pope of the Catholic Church.
Have you seen any reactions from young people that have had their faith distorted? For instance, with young people that I know, a lot of them have suggested, hey, there's this new thing with the Pope. We are able now to engage in sexual activity that the church had traditionally called sinful, but it's all okay now. We've had mothers who have always prayed for the conversion of their sons who are in homosexual relations, and then saying, oh, we don't have to do that anymore. The Pope is okay with it now. The church has moved on.
In Africa, things are different, little bit different. If you compare to Europe or United States. I don't know United States. I know more Europe because I live in Italy for 3 years and in Spain for 3 years. My experience is not too long. It's little experience. But here, the traditions concerning some aspect of the sexuality, we still have a strong traditional thought about it. So people see that Pope Francis is going a bad way. He's taking a bad road. And no, in my experience with the young people, the students I used to help, no, on the contrary, they know that Pope Francis is wrong. And They know that they have to fight to live the doctrine of the church about sexuality. It's not always easy. There are difficulties, but the difficulties are not an excuse to not live the doctrine of the church. So I will give you an example. I think it could help you understand better. I think last month or 2 months ago, for the first time in Ivory Coast, at least in what I know, but I think that I'm not wrong, because people spoke about it for the first time in a private broadcasting. They invite a girl who is homosexual. I don't know how to say it in English. Lesbian. You say it like that? Yes. For the first time. And people were very disappointed. Many people protest about it. Yes, it was the first time to see this kind of thing in the television here, made here. So it's something maybe in the Europe broadcasting when people see it here, but here in our country, it's the first time. So I think we still have a strong traditional good thought about sexuality.
As you said in your letter, you've experienced in a way a priestly death. How are you dealing with that? And what then keeps you going? Because you're obviously determined to keep going. What's your motivation to keep going, and how are you dealing with the persecution, if for lack of a better word, that you're suffering right now?
Tu es sacerdos in eterno. That means no, it's not possible for Pope Francis or anyone to live the priesthood. It's with the sacrament is something which is in me. It's a gift of God. The gift of God and the graces of God are something God gives forever. God doesn't give and want to take back. No, God, when God gives, he gives you for forever. So about priesthood, my priesthood is in me, and nobody can take it. It's impossible. So this is my motivation. I know that I am a priest, and I will always be a priest, even though it's impossible to use it now or to exercise it now. But I'm a priest, and I will be always a priest. Yes. So it's my strong motivation and biggest motivation. Or no, I won't say the biggest, but the second motivation, I will say it's Mother Mary. Yes. Because the first and biggest motivation is my priesthood, is Jesus Christ, and the second is Mother Mary. So Our Lady is all the priests, because she said that she is the mother of all priests. So I'm sure that if a priest is in difficulties, Mother Mary is especially with him, because the mothers are with the children who are in difficulties, because they love them. So I know that Mother Mary is with me, because I'm his son, her son, please. And now I have a difficulty, and I believe that my mother is with me. So with Jesus and with Mother Mary, it's not possible to be sad. No, it's not possible. Even though there are problems, but I'm happy. I'm happy.
I can tell you that in addition to our Lord and Our Lady, there are many, many Catholics all over the world who are with you, who are grateful for your defense of the faith, even in the face of all of this persecution you're receiving. And we know that priests like you are the future of the church.
The persecution is a kind of misunderstanding. Maybe Pope Francis, or I don't know, my chiefs in Opus Dei, maybe they think that I'm against the Pope, I'm against the church. No, it's impossible. I could say that it's absurd to think that a priest could be against the church or against the Pope. No, it's because there is a problem, and serious problem. So they have to solve it. If they solve the problem, we come back to the normal times. So the problem is there, and they have to solve it if they want peace in the church. It's very simple. The solution is very simple. We can keep quiet because we are looking for them. And since 2016, there is no rectification. So it's not normal. So it's time now to make a rectification.
And may many, many priests and bishops, religious and laity in the church, follow your example. God bless you and thank you.
Thank you very much.
And God bless all of you. We'll see you next time.